Welcome into the Georgia Vote. Brookhaven Mayor John Park joining us this morning. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's been a busy week, a busy few weeks across the country and right here in Metro Atlanta when it comes to immigration enforcement. We know that Buford Highway runs right through your community of Brookhaven. It's been a site of many of these immigration arrests. Describe the last few weeks in Brookhaven for you.
So it started about 2 weeks ago before any of the action started. We became aware that this could happen, and so I had a conversation with our police chief. And he said, well, we have a pretty good working relationship with the federal agencies. You know, we don't really get involved. They're sensitive to the fact that, you know, we still have to be in the community. So if anything, they just let us know that they're coming and that they'll be in the area so that if something happens, Brookhaven police, you know, will know what's going on and be ready to assist if necessary if there's a problem. This time around, I heard about the action, the federal action, on the news. And so I called our chief, I called, you know, around our staff, and basically we didn't know what was going on. And so pretty much any information that we have is from the news or hearsay or just stories. And so I can't really say for sure if these things happen. We're hearing that they're, you know, picking up people at churches, potentially at schools.
In Brookhaven?
And not in Brookhaven. Specifically, but I know in Brookhaven, it's in the apartment complexes where the residents live, and I would say it's just there's just a lot of uncertainty right now on what's going on.
Do you have a sense of how many Brookhaven residents have been arrested over the past 2 weeks?
I've heard of 5 or 6 different instances, just, you know, people I know saying yes, these people I know we're taking in. And I know that in several instances, there are people that are picked up that are also called what they're called collaterals. They went and they have an warrant for one specific person, but there's someone that happens to be with them, and they're not documented, so they get picked up as well.
I want to drill down on a point you just made that I think is important to underscore for everybody's understanding. You're saying that you're learning of these enforcement actions from news reporting, not from information coming from your own police department. Is there any liaison between your police department and federal authorities that are enforcing these immigration actions?
Historically, there have been. Historically, there have been just at least an acknowledgement of just a forewarning of where they're going to be. This time around, they've gotten no notification whatsoever.
Zero?
Zero.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. There's some speculation that it may be because they, you know, they're sensitive to the fact that we have to, you know, deal with the community, and so they kind of want to leave us out of it. It could be that they're just so busy, you know, that you know, and it's just a very fast-moving target. I've heard anecdotally that even the federal agents, you know, they're getting instruction on a Friday to do what to do Saturday. That's just anecdotal, you know, stories that I'm hearing. But quite frankly, I just don't know.
Let me introduce a little bit of data into the conversation here. Because it's important. I want to get your reaction to this. According to Immigration and Customs Enforcement's official Twitter account, there have been more than 7,000 immigration arrests since January 23rd. According to what you're telling us, at least a few of those appear to have happened in the Brookhaven community, others across the Buford Highway community. When you hear those numbers, what's your reaction?
My reaction is that it's going to affect our communities, right? We in Brookhaven, you know, we pride ourselves on community engagement, on being connected to the people. And our first priority is keeping people safe. And in order to keep people safe, they need to be able to trust us as a government and mainly trust our police. Trust that if they call them, that they will protect them and that they will work in their best interests. And that is not a one-time thing. This is a relationship that we have been building as a city for the past 12 years since we've become a city. And I worry that trust could potentially erode. I don't see it happening yet, but I do worry that trust could potentially erode, and that makes it harder for our police to do their job if they can't, you know, engage with the community that's affected. And not only does it make that Buford Highway community less safe, it makes all of Brookhaven less safe, because, you know, crime doesn't just sit in one place, right? These things can spread and cause problems for everyone in Brookhaven. And so my first priority as mayor, obviously, is to follow the law, but also to protect our citizens and put in policies that give our police the ability to do that job.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like you're getting at this tension where you have a concern that if immigration enforcement is happening in the Brookhaven community, people who are undocumented may be more hesitant than they were in years past to pick up the phone and call 911 if they're having an emergency, for fear that that would put an immigration enforcement spotlight on them, even though what they're calling about is something totally unrelated to immigration issues. Is that roughly accurate?
Absolutely. And as an immigrant myself, when I first came to the States, and I didn't know who federal agents were, I didn't know who local police were. You just see government, right? You don't see, you don't even see the, there are differences between DeKalb Police and Brookhaven Police and, Georgia State Patrol, who were, in our area the other day. You just see police. And I just, and then you have a kind of a reflex to kind of go inward and not engage with anyone that you're not familiar with.
You worry that these ICE arrests will have a chilling effect.
That's what I'm worried about.
Does the city of Brookhaven consider itself to be a sanctuary city?
No. Brookhaven is a limited services government. What that means is we have our swim lanes. We provide, paving, we provide parks, we provide, public safety, and that's it. And so therefore, we're not going to go beyond that. We're just going to focus on the things that we're responsible for.
That seems to be a fine line to walk here, though, and I see you smiling and nodding a little bit, because right off the bat in our conversation, you emphasized how important community engagement is for you as a leader and for the city as a whole. On the other hand, you're very quick to say we're not a sanctuary city.
Right.
Are those two things in tension?
What do you mean by intention? I'm very intentional on focusing on...
I'm sorry, I mean intention. Is there a tension between those two things?
Tension. I don't think so. Because, we go out and we do our job. Whether it's paving the streets or whether it's providing, infrastructure and parks and open spaces and things like that. And so, the federal government has their job. They have their policy making. They have their responsibilities. We have our responsibilities. And I don't like other agencies. I don't like other cities. I don't like the state government telling us what to do. And I wouldn't think to tell them what to do. More as a general policy discussion as citizens. But as far as Brookhaven is concerned, we're focused on what we're focused on, and that's maintaining community and maintaining safety of our citizens and residents.
If Immigrations and Customs Enforcement asked the Brookhaven Police Department to assist them in an immigration enforcement effort, would the Brookhaven Police Department do that?
So there are nuances to that. We wouldn't. So there's different kinds of assistance, right? If they said we want you to go and pick this person up, we would, specifically, we will say that that's not our responsibility. If they were to say we're having a very large, action, we want you to, be in the area and be ready. Of course, we do that for any federal agency. That would be, after all this, ends, or hopefully, the cadence slows down and we get back to a certain sense of normalcy. We're still there. We're still in the community. So we have to be cognizant of how we get involved. Just like we assist Chambly, we assist the Georgia State Patrol, we assist, the FBI, but in the way that local agencies typically do so, which is basically just be present and be ready for emergencies. Do I want Brookhaven police officers knocking on doors and enforcing immigration warrants? No, that's not our job. That's the federal government's job.
President Trump ran very vocally on, in part, a promise to ratchet up immigration enforcement. We're seeing that in the first few weeks of his administration. What do the residents of Brookhaven tell you that they're seeing and are experiencing as those campaign promises are seemingly coming true now?
Well, I think some residents are cheering it or supporting it. Some residents have a sense of solidarity and compassion for the residents in the community. But I would say, for the most part, people see it as a disruption within our community and our community building, and normal day-to-day operations. Which Brookhaven a vibrant city. We have excellent restaurants. We have diverse restaurants. We have lots of things going on. We have international festivals. We have flea markets. We have farmers markets. There are just people out and about and just living life. And I think the biggest concern for a lot of us is not only the human toll that it has on certain individuals, but also our what we've worked so hard to do, which is community building.
How do you, as a community and as a policy leader and a community leader yourself, what's the solution to this challenge of there are folks who are living undocumented in the United States? There are also communities like many, just like Brookhaven and Buford Highway and others that are a vibrant mix of people from all over the world, documentation status notwithstanding. And it seems like I'm listening to you in this conversation. I feel like you're wrestling with that a little bit too in some ways. I mean, what's the road forward?
Look, I'm an immigrant, but I'm also a citizen. I'm a leader. I'm a policymaker. So there's. I'm also very strong law and order. I fully support our police. I fully support their need to do their job. And like any project manager or whatever, you want to remove obstacles. You want to make their jobs easier, right? You want to put them in as positions to succeed. And these conflicts, can play into that. Can play into making that more difficult because. They may be in the area when there's a large enforcement action, and then in that same area, someone may break into a home, and then the Brookhaven police would have to show up, and what's going to happen at that point? That's what I worry about. That's what I worry about the most. And we've had attempted kidnappings. Are they going to call us? If someone tries to snatch their baby, and that concerns me. So really, I look at it through the prism of. Our first priority is to keep people safe. What are the things that we can do to keep, to accomplish that mission? And actively trying to support and go all in on that with the federal government, that doesn't support that mission. Engaging our community. And so one thing that our police does that I'm so proud of is they go out to where people live, and they ask to have community meetings. And most of our, a good percentage of our officers are Spanish speaking, and have, many of them are speak other languages. They go out and they just go to the areas and say, this is who we are, these are our responsibilities, and they answer questions. We even have we have a Citizens Police Academy. We also have a Spanish-speaking Citizens Police Academy. And they've been, these residents have been great partners in advocating not only for their community, but advocating for Brookhaven Police out into the community. And that is something that we've been building one step at a time for the past 12 years since we've been a city. And we're going to, and the thing is, we're going to continue to do that as this is going on. We just have to, as they say, weather the storm and hopefully come out ahead. And, when these things happen, who's left more than pieces?
I think it's a good place to end. I want to ask you two final questions here, and they're in some ways related to somebody who might be watching this right now, and they are worried about their immigration status and their potential future in this country, in the Brookhaven community. What would be your message to them?
My message to them is, I'm praying for you. There are resources out there for you. Brookhaven has a partnership with the Latin American Association to provide kind of citizen outreach, to provide resident outreach. Reach out to those services, but Brookhaven is here to maintain community. Brookhaven is not here to enforce, specific federal actions like that.
Your message to President Trump would be what?
My message to President Trump is have mercy, show some compassion, understand how this affects everyone's lives, please.
When you share that message, do you think about your own journey as an immigrant?
It does. I remember the feeling. I remember the feeling of uncertainty. We came over here on a student visa. We weren't sure whether we were going to get a green card or not. We applied for permanent residency, and I still remember to this day that interview when I was in high school. Our whole family interviewed for a green card. And the final words of the immigration officer that approved our application was, well, I guess you guys are pretty well settled in. You're settled in. Signed the paperwork, and I became a permanent resident, and 5 years later, I became a citizen.
And now you're the mayor.
And now I'm the mayor.
That's quite a journey.
Thank you.
Mayor, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.